I've got to say I don't really know why I'm doing this right now. But I figure it's time to lay a little speech down. At least after I take a couple hits of some ganj, Nick. When you hear all of that, once you hear the decay in my body, a ridiculous creation, and an odd end. I'm definitely dying. Who knows when? I mean, you know, I could be one of those motherfuckers who hangs around till 80, survives every natural disaster incredibly, only based on the fact that I'm such a piece of shit. Really, I'm not, because a piece of shit isn't conscious. They're a piece of shit. That's a secret that they don't really tell you. People who are conscious they're a piece of shit have some sense of duty, but for whatever reason, there's some physical, materialistic agenda kind of dragging them down into the grips of death. A good many people have died that way, and a good many more will keep dying. I'll probably die very soon. I feel it. I know it. I don't know why. The time is short. I mean, maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be listening to this when I'm 60, but I doubt it. Either way, I want to know at least I tried to do what I thought I was sent here to do. What I was built for. What I was capable of. That I tried to push it. And I tried to do it. And if I fail, well, I didn't really fail, because for some reason I have this nagging feeling that there's something, it doesn't matter what it's for, but there's something that I'm doing, something that feels right about it, no matter what the consequence, something that feels right about seeking to be a musician, about seeking to utilize my love for literature, poetry, whatever you want to call it. It's kind of gayish, sure, but, you know, God forbid I'm literate, you know, but anyway, doesn't matter. Nerd, yes, sure, you know, this far short of being a Trekkie, like a odd fit in my body, doesn't match up, too nerdy for this, too bizarre, too strange. But there's something just dragging, pulling me on. I want to play music. That's all I want to do. I seek it. I need to be more patient, learn more, develop my skills, get sick. You know what I mean? Just be sweet and my cares, my worries, my alcoholism. Fuck. I can never stop smoking weed though. Alcohol, but no, doesn't matter. Gotta cut out the booze. It's killing me. But you know what they say about us. I need to start keeping a confession journal. Don't even need to write shit out anymore. Although I should. I don't. That's one of those things. The more technology, the less you have to do, the more you just are. friend Bill, I'm too paranoid to trust him. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he does kind of fuck people over. Maybe it's because he did something fucked up. I don't know. But paranoid. It's partly because I'm a piece of shit, aka alcoholic, aka who gives a shit. You're still a piece of shit. Anyhow, I don't know. Sold me a bag of weed. Just rolled out. I was gonna give him a ride and I didn't. I was paranoid, wanted to get to play. This dude kind of blew me off. He was gonna teach me some shit on guitar. I swear I could get sweet if someone just taught me some stuff, some techniques, some practices that will expand my vocabulary, if you will, on the guitar. Just like reading these long, lengthy, complex novels written in modernist tongue, fucking 19th century bullshit. You have to look up every other word in the dictionary. And not just any dictionary when you fucking download online from the same time period. You know what I mean? Like, really want to nail down what someone's saying, you have to do some research. You can't just take it at face value. You can't, because you can interpret things to mean so many different things, especially when they're deep and meaningful, when they have true spiritual value. And then when there's truth to them, they always seem mysterious. They're always cloudy. They're always, this means something. I know it means something. And it means basically whatever you attach to it, because it's a truth. It's a relationship. It's describing a logical pattern. Or really, strike that, reverse it, a pattern of logic. And, it can mean so many different things, because ultimately it's just a base formula. You can attach all different kinds of variables to it and make it express all various kinds of ideas. It's kind of like a system of mathematics, much like calculus. If you want to figure out an area, basically, you have to start working with numbers in an odd way. They're shortcuts. It's kind of one of those things. Or it's related to, it's not the symbols themselves, but it's the structure, it's the way they're organized, it's the formula, the logic behind the theory. It's real truth. It's not what we attach to it. I think we get hung up mostly, and this is just speaking from my distorted point of view, as any psychologist would tell you, but I think we get hung up mostly on things like that. We're born, we're bred to think a certain way, to be a certain way, and it's so hard to shake it, things you've learned in childhood especially. It doesn't matter whether it was, just outright, if you had, let's say, a racist grandparent, and they always made little, gags and jokes, or, just, said fucked up things, really, no basis to say, but it kind of affects your attitude, especially when you're young. If you're hearing shit like that when you're 5 years old, cuss words, talks about drug use, being drunk all the time, around kids especially. Come on, kids are, when the mind's first developing, when it's first beginning to learn how to contact reality, how to interact with it, and it's getting feedback like that, of course it's going to shape it. It's going to distort how it chooses initially to react to things. We forget, as much free will as we have, we're still relying on instincts a lot. We have to rely on our senses as much as we like to detach from them, as much as we'd like to overcome them. Ultimately, we're a slave to them. The only way that you experience this reality, the only way you get to experience being here, alive, moving around, affecting things, making changes, doing what you feel you can do, going beyond, figuring out ways to do what you want to do. I mean, just that fact alone. I mean, of course, there's restrictions, there's limits, there's cause and effect relationships. You can't just be a piece of shit. You can't just do what you want, because you affect everything that you do. Every time you do something selfish, well, you're going to get a, selfish reaction from other people. You're going to get fucked up one. You're going to get nothing. Cold, alien reality. But if you sacrifice, make sacrifices, if you give up on yourself, say, fuck it, what I want is not going to happen here, whatever you guys need. When you do things like that, and ultimately you realize that you can be whatever you want to be, but nature has certain limits, bounds, restraints. The universe must flow in a certain way, otherwise it would cease to exist. I mean, obviously there must be some kind of logical culmination of ideas, of probabilities. There must be some, I mean, there's got to be some kind of end result, something grand, something spectacular, something that the universe means that we have no comprehension, some ultimate revelation or realization that the universe is alive and awake and aware of itself, and that we are all a part of it, that we are the universe is us, that the universe expresses itself through us, that we are the expression of the universe, and that we get to partake in expressing ourselves, being part of the universe. It's kind of crazy. It's a lot of responsibility as well, because how do you regulate something? How do you make sure that it keeps itself alive? Because ultimately all probabilities that are eventually made just get so depressed about itself that it kills itself. I mean, what do you do about that? Is there a second chance, some kind of alternate probability? Well, of course there is. There's another probability where the truth is sought out, fact is realized, and that's not a real solution. Ultimately, the only answer is to become peaceful, at one with yourself, to love yourself, to know that you, me, we are all eternal, and we're all really one and the same. We perceive ourselves as different people, as different things, as animals, as objects, as things that we think we need, but ultimately everything that we experience is really us, and that the only way we'll be satisfied with us is if we learn that everything runs through itself, everything is itself. When I think I'm depressed, I really think an aspect of myself is depressed. I don't know why. Is it not functioning with the rest of myself? Why is the rest of myself acting a certain way and I'm not? Is there something wrong with this aspect of myself? I mean, it sounds crazy, it sounds wordy, it sounds ridiculous, but I mean, ultimately, the only true perspective that I can take of my unconsciousness is one of disconnected, or really more connected, as contradictory as that sounds. More connected aspect to my consciousness, one that supersedes everything, one that expands my consciousness to include those that are not me. In fact, the negative of my consciousness, the nothingness. I throw up nothingness, I throw up these crazy phrases that sound evil and ridiculous, but they really mean good things. Only the wise will see the true meaning. People say I'm a Satanist, but that's ridiculous. Why would I worship someone who's going to lose? Why would I worship? Something like that. I'm too egotistical to worship someone that'll lose. It's crazy. But, I don't know, I root for the underdog too, so it's kind of a dual element in my soul, something I'm battling out. But I love Jesus. I love God. I love grace. I love paradise. I love all those ideas. I hope they're true. But I got lost along the way. I hate to keep blaming that I'm crazy because I know what's right. what's wrong. I just don't care enough, obviously, to do anything about it. Try, struggle, get paranoid, selfish. I try to change, but always there's something else that I want, that I need, tugging back at me. I feel hopeless. I feel like I can't change. I can't see any reason why I should suspect that. I mean, I know I can go on stretches, binges of good behavior, but I seem like I always really have selfish motives, selfish designs, selfish plans, egocentric consciousness. How does this affect this center of gravity, type of thinking? Really, as much as my part is important, everyone's is. But I must learn to view mine in relation to everyone's. It's like a short circuit. My brain can't fathom it. Fourth dimension bullshit, you know what I mean? Fifth dimension, if you want to get technical. Mr. Einstein. By the way, all signs seem to indicate that time is an illusion. It's a product of a 3D reality, that it only means things in relation to other things, but it really is just a way of understanding the one thing, whatever we call it, the moment, second, minute, however you view time, or view perspective, or conscious awareness. I mean, but time ultimately is just it's a way that things can move about three-dimensional space. So it's not really a physical thing. I mean, it is a dimension, but it's a dimension in another direction, one that goes beyond what we perceive. That's why we're so stuck on this concept of time travel. Is it possible? How can you travel in the past? Sort of the grandfather theory. When you go back in time, kill your own grandfather. How is that possible? I mean, ultimately, it only leaves the option that we're not thinking about things. I mean, we're stuck on logic, and it works so far as it goes, within this construct of three-dimensional space. But when we start thinking in terms of time, it's kind of it's a dimension, but it's not a spatial dimension. So it's a dimension, one more abstract, that we can't quite place. So obviously, if we're trying to understand it in spatial terms and logical terms, I mean, based on three-dimensional reality, it starts not to add up. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what the fuck? You prove this wrong. It doesn't exist, obviously. But that's a ridiculous view, because it must exist. Time certainly does exist. I mean, there must be rules to it, but it's also another dimension of spatial. Proportion. I mean, it's branching out into an area that we really have to think about, even to begin to understand. Seemingly a knowable concept, but that's only based on your perspective. Your perspective is stuck to the senses, chained down to three-dimensional space, to materialism, to sensation, to feeling, and not just knowing or exploring through thought, through understanding of things, through paying attention to things, to not just letting the physical take hold and ride you down to the grave, basically. To becoming one with the moment, to understand what it is we mean by time, perspective. Because maybe time really doesn't exist. Obviously, it must be an illusion. It doesn't make sense in the greater scheme of things. It only makes sense in the way we refer to things. So let's take a step beyond what we know, what we understand, and see that there's something greater, something just beyond our senses, something that we can know, but we can't really, or we can come to explain and describe, but we don't really know. We can't really, we can even explain it, like whether this will only make sense because of this, but we can't really just know it. It's only something described, just outside of parameters of thinking, of thought. Call me crazy. I am. I have papers. Fuck it. certainly an equation that went off kilter, something that had to be explored by the great mathematician, some weird angle on life that had to be lived out. Being that it is a possibility. I hear myself die with every breath. Closer and closer to the grave. Less and less away from what I was when I was a kid. But I tried. I tried, Lord Jesus, Lord, I tried. Be like a kid. Not. Fuck you. Fucking piece of shit. Back in ways, but, I try to be one with the moment, to constantly be learning, to constantly be exploring, discovering, seeking out the meaning in life, how things work, how things are shaped, what I'm supposed to do, what I can do, what is possible, what is not possible. I used to think about those things when I was a kid. It just plagued my mind. I used to explore. I used to play on jungle gyms, monkey bars and shit. Seeing what I could do, what's possible, what will get me hurt, what is okay, what is fun, what is right, what is wrong. These things. I was constantly learning, constantly in the moment where constantly, no matter what went on, I was happy because there was always my imagination was wild when I was a kid. I want to tap back into that, out of the fear, depression of society and modern living, of my life, my bullshit, my alcoholism, my selfishness and retardedness, out of that shit. Back to when I was young, innocent, nothing meant anything. I was still learning. When I become so egotistical. What next? I'm realizing I'm being recorded. I think about it as I'm speaking. I never do this. I need as a journal there. I learn how to disassociate myself with my surroundings. To be myself despite what's going on. But I'm being recorded because it seems that when I don't care what's going on, I'm the best. Nothing matters. I'm sick. I want to think about it. I'm fucked. Peace out, homies.